Listen to that wind blow. Temperature went from 26 down to 10 in the last few hours. Okay, you two Golonians, it's time to go venture out into the Polar Vortex. We're gonna go drive around in a Polar Vortex. Look at the swirl of clouds. You can see the rim of it off to the west. The exhaust coming out of the truck. You can see the truck is frozen like an icicle. The tires actually, you can see me without gloves. Yes, I'm going to show you frostbite because this is the Frosty Life channel. And I can only get frostbite in a Polar Vortex, right? Yes. Well, what else? When I drive the truck, the tires are so cold that they have flat spots on the section where they're sitting. So when it's sitting there on that flat spot, the tires are actually frozen and you go down the road going thum, thum, thum. I'll show you. Yes, you too can drive in a Polar Vortex if you come up to Minnesota or North Dakota. Your GPS won't work. It takes a while to start because the liquid crystal display LCD is frozen. You don't want to leave your GPS plugged in either when your vehicle is off because it'll drain your battery down. Frozen batteries on vehicles make them die a lot faster. I am so frozen, but I have seat heat. That button right there will turn on heated seats, so no worries. Now I'm going to run the windshield washer fluid and watch. It doesn't even run. It's too, a little bit too on, but it's below the temperature that you can use it, so it just causes a nice glare ice shield on your window, and now you can't see out. I know in some countries they call it the windscreen. Well, let's go for an adventure, going driving in a Polar Vortex. My windshield cleared up enough to be able to see and drive. The drains along the street, the sewer drains for rainwater, which we don't have because the rain that comes down ices up the streets. That's pure ice on the roads in a Polar Vortex, and all other times during the winter. You don't need a Polar Vortex to get these kind of roads. There's the edge of the Polar Vortex. You can see the curved vortex of clouds around us. It looked really weird last night when it moved in. There's some buildings without shingles because shingles fall off during Polar Vortexes. No, I'm just kidding. That's just a building being built. Oh yeah, the siding falls off too. And then the words Tyvek show up. Yeah, that's what happens during a Polar Vortex. The exhaust from the cars makes the streets wet. You can see during this part of the street where everyone stops, the street appears to be white and icy, but that's just pure salt, and there's some sand in with it too. But when up ahead where it's dark, that's where people accelerate, and that's where the exhaust from cars touches the street and freezes. Honestly, that I'm not kidding you. So then that freezes, so when we have black ice, and that's what you're seeing right now by looking down, it's part of life in a Polar Vortex is to have black ice all the time. Even on a sunny day, the road is covered with fresh new ice. Get moving, let's go, let's go. Everyone's afraid to drive on the black ice. Yippee skippy. It's just plain cold out here, living in the Polar Vortex. Up ahead where all the buildings are, you can see all the fog, ice fog rising up into the air. Zoinks, Batman, it's cold out there. Oh, painful. It makes my eyes water. Honestly, it's so cold out there. It makes your eyes water. And then it freezes to your cheeks. But it builds character, I'll tell you what. It really does. Keeps out the riffraff. Although there was still an armed robbery in town today. People must have needed money to pay their heat bill because it's like a couple $100 a month up here to warm your house up. But in my opinion, it costs more to cool your house than it does to heat your house. True fact. This is how you warm your hands up in Minnesota during a polar vortex. You just hold them up and breathe on them. That feels so nice, so warm. Where? Nah. That was a very slow explanation of it, but my cheeks are frozen and it's hard to talk right when your cheeks are frozen. It's kind of like drunk people. Their cheeks are numb and they talk slow. And so when you're cold, you sound drunk. But you're not. Well, you could be. Then your cheeks wouldn't feel frozen. They'd still be frozen. But you'd still talk slow. So that's all explained. And that's all an explanation of how to live in a polar vortex. Yeah, that's right. And the sun still shines during a polar vortex. So life isn't so bad. Funny how the news can invent a term like polar vortex that all of a sudden sounds like it's a new phenomenon that has never happened to mankind before. And this is the first time, and it only happened to Chicago because it's 10 below there. Well, the polar vortex has been here for 2 days prior to all that news, and it was cold here, a lot colder. It was 29 below yesterday morning when I got up. And that's not unusual. The temperatures do often get down to 25 to 30 below around here. And there's nothing special. There's no, yeah, it's kind of polar, but we're quite far from the North Pole. We're close enough for Santa to come and visit, but he has that, really fast sleigh. We're nowhere near the polar region. So yeah, cold air descended down, and it's cyclonic. It rotates clockwise in a big high pressure zone, and that's why you see the sun out today, because it's high pressure. It's just cold. That's all it is. You don't need to have the news invent this new term and this polar vortex arrived over the United States and the first time in history and everyone's gonna die. Yeah, that and common ison leaving fragments that are gonna bombard us and kill us all. Yeah. That's why I can't sit and watch CNN or any other news channel for more than a few minutes. I don't even watch them much. If the news is that important, it will show up on Facebook, right? I mean, right? Well, I mean, how'd you learn about some of the big events in 2013? You probably first saw it on Facebook, or possibly on YouTube. Although YouTube doesn't pop up that fast, but boy, it sure does on Facebook. Yes, that's my news channel. Okay, I gotta show you this though. In a polar vortex, your feet squeak when you walk on the snow. Watch this. Doesn't it make you feel cold? That's like squishing styrofoam. I mean, that makes a really cool sound. Sadie, you want to go out in the polar vortex? Come on. Come on, it's very dangerous, Sadie. Guess what though? Sadie's got her winter coat and gloves on. Let's go. Look at that. The salt isn't even working on the sidewalk. Look at that. You got to plug in your car to keep it warm. Woof, 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 woof. Get it! Otherwise your car won't start. Woof. Get it, Sadie! Get that polar vortex! Get it! Go! Hurry up! Now she has to be careful where she pees because it could freeze and then she'd be frozen to the ground. Come on, Sadie! Come on, Poochie Lou! You survived the polar vortex. When she breathes, frost forms on her whiskers. That's why we call it frosty life.